When I first noticed your whole linkage throttle design thing, where did you get that from originally?
Wout Young.
He's got a lot of power, and we got the Kiss Cam going. What is going on? Coldplay's not here, but they might have got caught because they are piling that evil AutoWorks BMW. Make some noise for the Drift Wizard, Andy Hateley.
Whenever they first started here, it was so choked up and awkward.
It got a lot better once they widened the track. You know, you're not pulling out so much angle as you're leaving OZ2 to get to OZ3. We just keep battling Odie Batchis over and over again.
Straight top 32. Odie Bakshis. Whoa, buddy.
Long Beach, we were losing power steering in outside zone 1, which is probably the scariest thing you'll experience in Formula Drift, I want to say. People don't realize having no power steering is a lot better than having power steering that fails.
What are the judges asking for?
Their advice is cheat, but get it done quickly, basically. Don't forget to have fun. Focus on how you're doing overall and enjoy it. Because, you know, I'm 41 now. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be doing this.
Yeah, I've been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey. Ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era.
Welcome back to the Circle of Drift podcast. I want to say thank you again for stopping in every single week for a brand new episode. This show is presented by SimHQ, where you can always save 5% off on your next Sim Magic upgrade using code Circle of Drift. But if you are new here and have no idea what I'm talking about, my name is Dawson, and here on the Circle of Drift, we interview some of the most interesting personalities within the industry, all to give you the best information possible so that you can not only learn about drifting, but start yourself. But today we will be at Formula Drift in St. Louis, hearing from Andy Hateley on some of the issues that he's dealt with throughout the year, his pretty wild throttle setup, and a lot of the ins and outs of Formula Drift itself. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the podcast. We have a brand new face to the channel.
Not quite brand new. We had you guys on our podcast. We did a joint.
Well,
remember?
my channel.
Yeah.
I'll link that one down below. That one was fucking forever ago. But so I got to start off with the hat. Mm-hmm. That's the sore thumb, the elephant in the room.
What hat? What, that one?
Yeah, mine.
Yeah.
Duh, I'm not talking about yours. It's boring. No, where'd the Drift Wizard thing come from originally? For anyone that doesn't know.
Sitting on my couch watching dumb reels on Instagram, came across this guy. What was his? I forget his handle now. But he came up with this thing called the Frog Wizard, and it was just an animation of this frog doing silly stuff. And I was like, I should try the Drift Wizard. Like right around then, I was coming up with a bunch of dumb video ideas. I did a bunch of stuff. So I still like have a phone full of notes of like dumb ideas to make, you know, reels about and stuff like that. So
it was as simple as that.
Yeah, that was one of them. I think we made like probably 6 reels that day out of like different random ideas that I had. And that one just like took off. And the round after that, I think it was Atlanta, I showed up and nobody called me Andy anymore. They all just called me the Drift Wizard. So I was like, there's something to this. Like people were yelling it from like across the pits and like all sorts of stuff. So it kind of became my persona, I guess, and became bigger than my own name, which I prefer. I have a little bit of like anxiety when it comes to like people, you know, coming up and talk. I mean, like, I'm kind of an introvert, to be honest. So like,
I hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so it was nice to like not be the center of attention. Now the Drift Wizard is the center of the attention. So
the face to hide behind almost.
Yeah, it's a good move.
I like that. Yeah. I've always said that I admire Japan FD for the characters and stuff that they bring to the drivers and everything. So I like that you
gotta watch
that
old
into
D1
America.
stuff, man. That's where it was. Like they did some characters, they did silly stuff, they did like physical fitness tests between the drivers where they had them like run like, you know, 100 feet. They had them like a squeeze test with like a grip meter thing.
Oh.
Like, yeah, there's some really silly stuff in all the old option videos. And that's like, when I got into drifting, that's all I saw. So it was like nice to see, you know, professional drivers be silly, you know? And it's, I mean, to be honest, it's a silly motorsport to begin with. Like we're out here sliding cars around in
None
a
of it makes sense.
judge fashion. Like it has nothing to do with the other side of motorsports where everything is by the clock, by the time. When you cross the finish line, that's all that counts. So it's nice to embrace that and not be too serious out here because
It's
Yeah.
got to be cool to see the hats on the live stream.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, that's how you
It's
get on the
so
live
funny.
stream when you don't make top 32 or you don't make top 16. It's like you
Smart
get that
man right
exposure
there,
no matter
yeah.
what. So every time you see a hat in the crowd or you see it on the live stream, they know where it came from. They know who we are. It's really helped us like build sort of our brand and get out to people that, you know, we wouldn't normally get to because we're not making top 16 all the time in pro and stuff like that. And pro spec, it doesn't have as big as following as pro. So like, it's nice to find a way to get in front of the crowd and get people talking about you, basically. Yeah.
Has it helped the program at all? Just the fact
Oh,
of
yeah.
having that character?
Well, I mean, the hats are the selling of the hats is the biggest sponsor we've ever had.
No
Monetary.
shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Even in pro.
Wow.
Yeah. It's hard to find money out here, and yeah, we've made more off of these than anyone's ever written us a check for. Yeah. Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
How many do you sell a weekend?
Typically this year's not as good as last year because we've had a lot of rain and like stuff like that, and just like especially in Atlanta we did like really good last year, but it was raining during like the top 16 break, so there wasn't like the mass amount of people coming down to the pits. But
You need a poncho
on
with the same
average
thing
we
up
go
there.
through 150 to 300 per round. I think the most we've gone through is like a little over 300. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Last year we went through 2,000 of them. So yeah.
Can people buy them online too?
We just started our website, let's see, about the beginning of the season. I got it all set up, but
Oh,
I haven't
cool.
really done any advertising for it. I actually just put the driftwizard.com logos on the side of the car now. So, and I need to make some content to kind of promote that. I really haven't, but we've been getting, you know, steady sales on the website, but no like big boom or anything like that because we haven't really pushed it yet.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. Well, other than that, how's the season been going as far as you're driving the car, you know, just the way you're seating and everything?
It's on and off. Long Beach, we did pretty well. Kind of fell into third place for the seating there, and just haven't had the best of luck, you know, coming in, you know, the events after that. And we just keep battling Odie Batchis over and over again. It seems like we're going to battle him for the 4th time in a row now at this round.
Really?
So yeah. So, but I'm learning him. I got him one more time in Jersey, and that's hard to do with Odie. So proud of that performance, and hopefully we can get another one more time today or finally beat him, you know?
Do you change stuff going into that battle because it keeps happening, or do you just try and keep it consistent?
We'll drop tire pressure a little bit, try and grip the car up a little bit more, but we're not changing a whole lot because usually there's not a whole lot of practice, you know, at these rounds. This round especially, we kind of missed half our practice session yesterday because the supercharger pump was doing some funny stuff. We got our IATs up to like 220 at one point, which is no bueno. And then we have a throttle body issue going on right now. One of the bearings went bad, so the shaft actually has a little bit of play in it. And my crew guy Curtis packed it with some grease for the seating battles. It felt a lot better after that, but the bearing itself is chewed up. So we borrowed a throttle body, ironically, from Odie, but it was a 95 millimeter, and we're at 102, so we'd have to do some tuning stuff with that. So we're probably just going to repack it again today and run tomorrow, and then try and get a new one before Seattle. Yeah.
What would, like, so you obviously have to retune it. Why? Obviously, changing a throttle body is pretty easy.
Yeah.
What extensively on the tune side of things are you going to have to change for your
That
setup?
I'm not
Is that
100%
what
sure.
takes so long?
I just know that you're going to get a little bit more constriction out of the 95 versus the 102. It's 7 millimeters, so that's a substantial difference.
I mean, you're going down the line of stuff. You're
Yeah.
having to change fuel and everything.
Yep. How much the throttle plate is kicked open, you know, at idle and stuff like that counts. And then resetting, you know, TPS and all that stuff. But I don't assume it would be a whole lot. I probably should be something we'd be able to figure out pretty easy with my tuner coming on TeamViewer and, you know, working his magic. But ideally, we just try and find the 102 to make it, you know, solid. And honestly, it's not bad right now, so I'd rather keep it where it is, re-grease it, and just do our battles and see how it goes.
So that was my next question.
Yeah.
Is like, if you do just go through today or the next battles or whatever with this one, and then you end up changing it, is that not going to throw you off?
Not if it's a 102. Because it's
so you will be getting a 102. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, we
I'm
just
sorry.
couldn't find a 102 here that was complete. We found one from Trenton Beecham, but they actually took it apart because their shaft, I forget what happened, but they actually took it apart, removed the shaft, removed the throttle plate, and replaced his throttle plate and shaft with that. So So we don't have the parts to replace it, and it's a different throttle body than ours. So, we couldn't just do a quick swap over. Yeah.
All right. Look, we got to stop the podcast for a second because I know we're going through a lot of tires out there. And given you're here supporting the podcast, they want to help you guys out and give you 20% off on your tires moving forward with code CircleOfDrift2. And on top of that, they're actually doing free shipping, which is just added to your cart. So if you're going to need tires soon, or maybe you just never tried the Zek Novas, or you just kind of want to stack up, I suggest you do that now while you can get them at a better price. But other than tires, let's get on back into the podcast. Now, I've heard a lot of the drivers say that it's pretty gripped up at this track, right? Yeah. Or cars are like feeling really fast. Are you having the same thing?
It's a good surface. It's pretty grippy out there. It's not, it's grippier than like Orlando and some of the other tracks, but any tracks like this where you have a really high quality surface like Salt Lake City or Road Atlanta, it's just a quality track. So they're using that really good pavement, and that makes a big difference as far as the grip levels go.
Do you like the layout style that they're doing now? Because whenever they first started here, it was so choked up and awkward. And
it got a lot better once they widened the track. Coming off of OZ2 and into OZ3, they widened that up a bunch, and now it's a lot easier to make it happen and a lot less. You're not pulling out so much angle as you're leaving OZ2 to get to OZ3. I personally like it. I know a lot of people hate it because it's like speed up, slow down, speed up, slow down, but I like the challenge, and I've always had good luck here, and it this track comes naturally to me, I guess. We'll put it that way. Every time even in the sim when I hopped on, I hadn't driven it in a long time, and right off the bat, I want to say it because my goal in the sim is to do 10 laps with like minimal mistakes, basically in a row off the bat, like right when you hop on the machine, go to St. Louis. If you can do 10 laps right off the bat with no major mistakes, fill all your zones, then I consider myself like ready for competition. And I was able to do that. I want to say right when I hopped on the track. It comes natural to me. It's just a lot of, speed up, slow down, downshift, upshift, check your wheel speed with the e-brake. But I like it here. It's a fun track. Yeah.
Well, since you mentioned sim, obviously you're on a Sim Magic setup, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you consider like a brand new, obviously you're doing FD, so you're not going into an absolute brand new track other than Long Beach this year.
Yeah.
So we can use that for example. What are you going to do going into the sim to practice it from the jump? Like obviously you need to make it to the 10 laps, but there's also, you got to make it through the first turn before you can make it to the next turn.
I'm hoping someone will make that track on the sim before Long Beach.
That's true too, but
that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
And if they don't, I will pay you. Let's get that track on the sim so we can get some practice, get the visuals down, get the timing down, all that stuff. So, hopefully we'll have one, come Long Beach, and, I can get some practice before we head out on the track.
Do y'all have any idea of what it's supposed to be like?
FD posted a sort of render of what the track's going to look like.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was like to a T.
It's
how
basically
it should be,
basically U-turn, 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 U-turn.
Wow.
It's very tight, very long radius corner into another one, into another one. It looks like it's going to be all outside zones, maybe one inside clip. So should be pretty good for tandem.
In the render, it's like fully walled, right?
Yeah.
Is it gonna be that way? Have they confirmed
I believe so.
that?
Yeah. That's kind of the only way to do it when you have a street course like that. Like you can't let cars run off into the actual intersections and stuff like that. You have to have it very just a lot of barriers everywhere to keep the crowd and to keep potential traffic that runs over cones or something from getting into the course itself. Yeah.
That's fair. Well, other than all that, you did mention earlier how you've been having a lot of issues and hiccups throughout the season, earlier on. What were some of those, for example, just for anyone
Long Beach,
looking to
we
get
had a
into this?
bad power steering fitting, which was completely my fault, to be honest. We were testing at Willow, and we bled the power steering fluid there, had an issue with a hose. I swapped out the hose. And I don't know if some debris got in there or what, but the actual chamfered part of the AN fitting got damaged. So Long Beach, we were losing power steering in outside zone 1, which is probably the scariest thing you'll experience in Formula Drift, I want to say. Coming into the wall, you initiate, and then it's just gone, and you're fighting the wheel. And what people don't realize, having no power steering is a lot better than having power steering that fails. Because when it fails, you're fighting the hydraulic pressure. So you're not only forcing the wheel to do its thing, you're forcing fluid through the rack in both directions as you're correcting. So it's sketchy. Very hard to move the wheel, and fortunately I was able to round it up and get the car straight, before we ate the barrier. But same thing happened last year. But last year it was just bad power steering pumps, and we switched to a company called Radial Dynamics. And other than my fitting mishap, that was my fault, it's been completely solid ever since. They do a lot of rock crawling trucks. I think top 5 in Baja, or like 3 out of the top 5 in Baja this year, are running their pumps. So those guys are putting it through whoops, big tire, lots of load, and they don't have any issues. So they also do stuff for monster trucks. So they are just gurus of power steering. Highly recommended if you're going to run mechanical power steering. Talk to Radial Dynamics. We're working on getting them to make a bracket, or my crew chief Curtis actually might make a bracket to mount the LS power steering pump to JZ engines, so you can run mechanical there as well. Just a great system, great setup. Their reservoir is something like I've never seen. If you get a chance to go to their YouTube, they have a clear version of the reservoir, and it's a swirl pot down below, and it's got a screen in the middle that allows the air to bleed out, and they just are pumping compressed air into the system, and you can physically see it, the bubbles coming out. Everything goes to the top, and the pump is always pulling clean fluid, even when air is introduced in the system.
Cool.
So, even if you, bust a line or something like that, it's going to gradually disappear rather than disappear, in a flash, because you're going to feel the fluid pressure dropping, but you're not going to get air into the actual pump and cavitate the pump and ruin other stuff. Yeah.
Well, since you went that route, did you? I assume you considered going e-throttle, or not e-throttle?
Yeah.
Sorry, electronic power steering.
Yeah, we considered it. We talked to a lot of people. We would have probably had to add another PDM possibly, or get a bigger alternator, mount it, run hoses. It was a big ordeal, and I was pretty much there. I was ready to swap everything over. My crew chief was like, "No, let's give it one more try." We gave Radial Dynamics a try, and it worked out perfectly. So,
wow.
Yeah.
How much of an investment, like cost-wise, would you say that would have been total?
For the Radial Dynamics stuff, or like
for the
overall?
electronic stuff?
Oh, the electronic stuff? I'm not sure. It kind of depends on the route you go. People are running, mini pumps. There's Opel Astra pumps that like the guys in Europe use. The MR2 pump is probably the most popular. And I've heard good things and bad things about it. Some people love it. Some people hate it. Some people really like the consistency of it. They say it feels, like the simulator kind of. But I'm happy with what we got. It works, and we haven't had a single issue with it. So
That's I would have considered you would go that route more because of the sim, since you have adapted to it. You use it so much. I
still
as a
haven't
tool,
even driven
so
a car
on.
with electric power steering. So
Oh, really?
I mean, maybe someone wants to lend me a car to try out for a couple laps, and but we really like Radial. They're very helpful. The time that we needed that pump was right before Florida, and we needed it literally the next day, and he was backed up on orders, and he's like, "All right, listen, I have one here in reserve. Like, this is our backup pump in case something goes wrong," and he sent that out and got us set up. Super cool guys. And
Can't beat that.
Yeah, the customer service and the knowledge and the fact that we can call him literally right now, "Hey, we got a problem. What do we do?" And we figured it out right then and there. And with electric stuff, basically you'd be going around from team to team to team trying to find someone who's a power steering guru, basically, to help you out with it. Whereas, like, I got it right here on my phone.
That's true, yeah. Well, good, man. Well, I know I was on the other side of that, not electronic power steering, when I messed up and said e-throttle.
Yeah.
When I first noticed your whole linkage throttle design thing, where did you get that from originally?
My buddy Wout Young, he runs that on his carbureted E46 out in Europe.
Okay.
And it's really popular with the carbureted guys. And I wasn't going to run that. I got this Joe's Racing floor-mounted throttle pedal for the E46 because I wanted to replace the flimsy plastic one that BMW comes with, because we actually broke that on the E30. The plastic hinge broke off at Long Beach when we first time I ever ran the E30. So I wanted something solid. I wanted something metal. So I mounted that up, and that came with the bell crank for the linkage. It came with the linkage stuff, and I was like, I think I can make this work. So I mounted the bell crank basically, in line with the throttle blade. And before we switched to the bigger Magnuson supercharger, it was straight from the bell crank to the throttle blade. So direct, in a straight line right up to the throttle. And it worked great. It was way smoother than a throttle cable. Throttle cables with the bends and stuff like that, you can always kind of feel the cable, grinding around in there on the Teflon coated line. And this was just the smoothest throttle I've ever felt. So, and then once we swapped to the Magnuson supercharger, I had to put that little rocker in there to get it to clear the supercharger, which is fine. It's still direct. It's still doing its thing. And it's just the most direct feeling throttle I've ever had. It's the smoothest thing that I've ever come across.
I would have to expect it provides way more feedback.
Yep.
From what's going on with the
way more
the engine
feedback,
and
and you can be way more precise. There's not that little bit of drag that you get. And we've melted a throttle cable before and had this throttle stick wide open. So, so it's nice to not have to worry about that at all. Heat doesn't affect it. The drive-by-wire guys like to argue with me about it, but there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of nuts and bolts, but with e-throttle, there's a lot of things that can add to a failure as well. It's a lot of wiring, voltage, this, that. There's tons of stuff that can make that not work. And, I've seen cars get totaled because of e-throttles. I've seen cars get totaled because of broken cables. So I just feel like this is, one, it's pretty darn reliable. I don't want to say the most reliable because I don't have the data on that, but it also is cool. It looks really cool.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I like it. I like mechanical stuff. I like stuff that I can understand. I'm a fabricator. I'm a builder. I know wiring, but I'm not a wiring guy. I can wire a fan. I can wire a relay. I can do all that stuff, but that's not my forte. I like things that I can physically see and touch and move with my hands, Not that you can't feel electricity, but I don't think you want to be feeling it.
I totally get that.
Yeah,
because there's always that argument between cable and e-throttle.
Yeah.
But obviously cable, yes, there's the cable will fray. It'll eventually
things
get
can
damaged.
happen.
But
Yeah.
the plus side is you can feel that happening.
Yep.
So it's easier to dodge that
Well, it's easier to
catastrophic failure
diagnose
from
too.
happening.
If the throttle cable does
Right.
fail, okay, put a new throttle cable on. It's not like you're chasing down, why don't I have voltage, or why isn't it opening all the way, or chasing down, is it grounded properly? There's a lot of things that can go wrong with that, and it's just easier to diagnose a problem when it's right there in your face. You can say, oh, well, that bolt's loose, or oh, that cable came off, or the little ferrule fell off the end, or whatever. So it's just my preference. It's what I like and what I like. It's easier to diagnose, and
I saw Scott go through hell with his e-throttle. He had just put on at Polecat. Ruined his whole day.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you go out on track, the car just goes into limp mode, doesn't have full 100% throttle.
Yep.
And now he's got to wait 30 minutes to get yanked off a track because his track's so long. Oh, dude, it's a nightmare.
Yep.
So not only are you ruining your own day, but you could be ruining everybody else's day.
Yep.
Not that Scott did that, but
But yeah, I've seen them fail, and one of them failed at Seattle. I don't want to say the driver, but back in the day, e-throttle failed midway through the bank and took the throttle away, and he went up and into the wall, totaled the car. And that can happen with a cable too. That can happen with a linkage too. I'm not saying it can't, but it's less common to have those random weird failures, with a cable or with a linkage. Dylan, I know, had a failure last round. He switched up to cable for this round. So, to each their own. If you want to run it, you want to run drive-by-wire, you want to run cable, you want to run linkage, I don't care. I like doing what I like with my car, so,
Now look, let's take a break from the podcast really quick because we can't always have these nice comfy chairs at events when we're doing podcasts. And I have to think about not only keeping myself, but the guests comfortable as well while we're sitting down for such long episodes. Nothing has kept the guest and I comfortable enough other than the Viper chairs. They use an extremely thick cushion so my ass doesn't get sore after 5 minutes. And I don't always have the best posture, so the placement of the backrest helps me with a lot of my lower back pain. And even when we have the XLR cables for these microphones just laying on the ground, I've never had an issue with the casters rolling over them or tipping me out of the chair. But if you guys have been considering getting your own, Viper's hooked you guys up with $50 off on your next Viper chair. So I'll leave the link in the description for that. And without further ado, let's just get back into the podcast. Well, speaking of just FD in general, how is it since you've been here in FD for so long, running a program? You know, economy's getting worse. How are you surviving through all of this?
Barely. Yeah, just barely. Yeah.
How so?
Yeah. I mean, it's expensive. Luckily, Kumo Tire came on board, and so if we didn't have the deal with them, we probably wouldn't have moved up to Pro, to be honest. They've been very helpful. They developed a great tire. Last year we were on a 275/35, and they developed their 295/40 for us, and it's been the best tire I've ever had. Like, we get 3 laps here, we're getting 4 laps at Long Beach, like, and you don't really hear about that, you know, like. Damn. Even with the GT radial and Pro Spec on the 255, we were getting 1.5 laps basically. The tire would be gone by the time I entered Outer Zone 2. So just the life of the tire, the fact that we can run 3 laps to kind of stretch practice a little bit more. And they sent engineers out actually here last year. We did some testing, and they were taking temperatures, and they did footprints on the tire. They did a whole bunch of stuff. The guy Andy over there at Kumo really knows his stuff, and we're just really fortunate to have a tire company that came on board and didn't just give us what they got. They were like, all right, how do we make this the best for you guys? And they did that. They added more rubber on the outer edges of the tire because those were wearing faster because we run such low tire pressures that you actually, the middle of the tire will bow up a little bit, and you're riding more so on the sidewall of the tire once you drop your pressures down really far. So they added more rubber there. It's been a phenomenal tire all year long. Yeah.
That's some weird science to that. That's cool.
It's complicated. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
So is that like the main sponsor that's helping you guys out, or is there anyone else that's helping the program?
Evil Auto Works, they've been helping us out, and that's Jeff's sponsor as well. So we share Evil and Kumo, and Jeff's basically the reason why I got on Kumo and the reason why I got on Evil. So big shout out to Jeff Jones. Thank you, sir. So yeah, without that kind of help, we wouldn't be here. Yeah, just plain and simple.
So how much is it costing you to run these seasons now? Because especially living in California,
it's a lot.
I mean, cost of living alone is high.
I don't like to think about it, you know.
Well, you got to now.
Yeah, I mean, we spend generally roughly 10 grand a round, I'd say, between hotels, paying my guys, parts that break, you know. Yeah.
Would you consider that on the lower end of drivers?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
What are other drivers spending?
I mean,
like 20, 30 plus around?
If you're talking independent guys, I'd say that's probably the average is like 10 to 20, you know, depending on what kind of mileage your rig's getting and all that kind of stuff, and how many spares you're bringing and what breaks, you know. If you're going through 2 or 3 motors a year, it can get expensive, but luckily we have a great engine builder. Shout out to Jeff Ginter Racing Engines. Another Baja guy, builds a lot of, I think he was in the top, 3 or 5 trucks too this year. He builds like Terrible Herbst engines. He builds Vaughn Gitten's off-road program engines. Super knowledgeable dude.
That's cool.
Does everything right and to the T, and we haven't had an engine problem at all since we've been, messing with him.
Yeah, that's a problem you don't want to have.
Yeah.
You got some of these guys out here going through, 3 engines a year or some shit?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
And even some of the, some of the 2J guys, the V8 guys, everyone has gone, that route before, and it sucks, man. If we blew an engine, that's our season. Like, we're done. We don't have the money to continue.
Do you ever think FD will get that big to where an engine is disposable? Because you got some drag racing out there where that's the case.
If you go over and talk to Papadakis, they'll probably, I mean, their new B58 seems solid, but the old, the 4-cylinder they're running, they were going through quite a few engines in that. And that's not to his fault. I think they just they were running as high as they could possibly get out of those engines, and it wasn't a proven engine. It didn't have a slew of aftermarket parts, so he's building and manufacturing everything that you need to make that kind of horsepower. Wow. So that's complicated, and I couldn't do any better, put it that way.
Yeah.
You
got to go through all the growing pains with that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so as far as the program and everything,
Mm-hmm.
like, if, say someone comes up to you at one of these events and is like, I want to do this. How do I start? Like, what do I
As far
need
as
to, what do
driving?
I need to do? Yeah.
Um,
Especially now with everything being so expensive.
seat time, obviously if you can't get out there and do well in your Pro-Am series and earn a license, that's a big killer. So you can have, a great following, which is another part of it, is really build your social media package. Find a way to be unique within the sea of drift drivers out there. We've all seen a car going sideways. We've seen every brand, every make, from Tesla to Grid Life to,
Ferraris.
to just Ferraris. Yeah, everything, So find a way to make yourself unique, make yourself stand out, and find sponsors that align with you as your personality, basically. Fortunately, like I was talking about Kumo, they post some pretty funny memes and stuff like that here and there. So like, we kind of aligned with them. We do silly content, and they were all about it. And there's certain companies that just aren't about that at all. They'd see the Drift Wizard, they'd see me doing my stuff, and they go, "What the hell is that?" Like, So yeah,
There's nothing wrong with that either.
no, there isn't.
Like,
But yeah, there's very corporate style sponsors, and there's ones that are willing to have a little fun. And we, lean to the side of having a little more fun.
It's the whole point, right?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, business, I understand. It's the livelihood. It's how they pay their bills. It's how they stay afloat. So if they want to keep it very corporate and not align with someone like me, I'm fine with that. I will find someone who appreciates what we do. And not only that, they have the audience that appreciates what you do as well. Because if their branding is silly and fun and includes comedy and stuff like that, then you're going to align with them. Their following is going to align with you. Your following is going to align with the brand, and we're all doing and helping each other, basically. Yeah.
It's all organic too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes it great.
Yeah.
Well, what is like the most common misconception you've noticed that, especially being in FD, running a program, car level, all of this stuff? What like?
Probably that it's like pretty much the same as your local drift event, just on a professional level. Like, everybody's here to help everybody. When our throttle body went bad, I was running around teams, and who we're gonna battle, Odie gave us a throttle body, his spare throttle body, and you don't see that in any other form of motorsport, from motocross to drag racing to road racing. You're not even allowed to talk to other teams in a lot of those races. So, I mean, like, you can't go and help. We've had, Ray Shake from RTR come over and help us with the E30 back when we were running electromotive ECU, because he knew that from way back in the day. So he came over and helped us out. Papadakis way back in the day when Tanner was driving for the team, I think 2007, they lent us their spare differential because they were running the Z at the time. Like, we're lending parts. We're helping each other out. I've lent out my welder's been more used by more other teams here than we've ever used it. So it's all a cumulative effort. It doesn't matter who you're battling. Everyone wants to help each other get out on track and perform their best. Nobody wants to win with a buy run or with a car failure or whatever. Brewski, who we battled last night, he pulled into the pits over here and he's like, "You got vacuum line?" I'm like, "Yeah." I ran over my trailer, got him some vacuum line to fix a vacuum hose he needed, and he beat us. Like, but it's not his fault. It was my fault. I messed up on track, like, and I don't want to win because he needs a vacuum hose and I'm not willing to give it to him. Like, there's a lot of camaraderie out here, and I think people don't realize that when they are watching the stream or whatever. We're all friends. We're all having a good time. We were all here, partying last night, throwing, playing, what's the game with the sandbags?
Cornhole.
We were all playing cornhole over at
I can fuck some people up in cornhole,
pits.
bro.
Well, come over to Stokey's pits.
Shoot,
I
will.
Let's team up, because I'm not very good at it, so I need you.
Oh,
yeah.
Dude, I grew up playing cornhole.
Yeah.
We tried to like travel baseball.
Yeah.
So we'd bring it, set it up in the parking lot of the hotel, and just play all night. Yeah.
All right, you're my teammate. You're my teammate for tonight, then. Yeah. We're gonna mess some people up.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, as far as this event, obviously, what's the plan of attack going into this next battle, going in the rest of the event? What are your hopes? All that stuff.
Odie's a tough one to beat. We'll probably drop tire pressure a little bit, probably leave the car set up like it is, and really push hard in practice as far as in our chase line runs, because he's going to be fast, and if we don't push hard, he's definitely going to beat us. So we might as well push hard in practice. If we crash, if we mess up the car, really doesn't matter, because we wouldn't have beat him if we weren't pushing hard. So, yeah, just get out there, try and get very comfortable. When you're leaving OZ2, coming into OZ3, that's the point where, he's probably going to gap us, based on the grip level of that car. So I need to figure out a way to kind of cut the line in the right spot, get on throttle early, and, stay in the pocket throughout the course.
What are the judges asking for in those scenarios? Is that like they want you to cut the line, or would they rather you stay deeper and less proximity?
Their advice is cheat, but get it done quickly, basically, So, like, if you got to cheat the line,
that's Reese.
If you got to do all that stuff, you got to do it quickly. Don't be completely outside of the zone when the lead driver's filling the zone completely. But yeah, you'd be better off a car length or two behind, but actually filling the zones and doing that. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a gamble every time you come out.
Good. What do you think the judging's been better this year?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. They seem to have switched up quite a bit on a lot of the layouts and the way they make certain calls. All that stuff.
A lot has changed over the years. I do like the fact that they're better at spotting, lead driver mistakes that could lead to the chase driver losing proximity, rather than just focusing so much on proximity. And I haven't had any arguments with the judging all year, so I'm happy with it. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, what do you hope for the future changes of FD? And do you hope for any new tracks, or do you have anything in mind that you would hope for?
I'd like to see more telemetry being used as a helpful point to the judges. I don't know if we're there yet to use telemetry as a judge itself, but I know that Drift Masters is using that Wally system. Clutch Kickers is using it. And I've looked at some of the data from that. I've watched it, and it's really solid information to have. It's really detailed, and it can tell you, who's going faster, who's filling the zone more, who has more proximity, all this stuff, who has, angle versus proximity, all that. So if we could sort of get that system to the point where it's better than a judge, I think we always do need at least one or two human judges, but I think that could go a good place with that electronic judging. Basically, I think there's a lot to be said about it, and I think that might be the future of drifting is having at least some sort of very detailed telemetry input as far as decisions and how they're made out on track. Yeah.
Do you think it'll cause more issues with the viewers at all?
I don't think so. I haven't seen any stuff on there that would confuse me. It's pretty obvious, when someone has more angle and more proximity and stuff like that. And if you're basing your parameters on how much they're filling the zones, how much angle they have, how much speed they're carrying, is there any checkups or brake checks or anything like that? I don't see an argument with it, especially because they should be able to show you on the live stream, the telemetry data, where it has, a little visual of the cars going through their lap and showing you how, I don't know if you've seen Formula One, where they have the ghost car, and it's they overlay that over the live footage, so you can see where the gains are being had, where people are gaining it back, all that stuff. It'd be something like that, and you could see visually why someone won, rather than have someone explain it, or just one guy slides right, one guy slides left type thing. So I think it would help explain it a lot better to the audience, and I don't think there'd be any argument, because it's so cookie cutter right there. Here's his mistake. He didn't make a mistake. He had more angle. He filled the zones more, vice versa. And if you can relay that to the crowd and to the audience, I mean, there's no argument, Yeah.
I still think it would. I know it's not as consistent as a lot of people have made it out to be, because there are certain moments, if a car spins out, now they all of a sudden had 70 degrees of angle, or like some nonsense that's not possible.
Yeah.
And like, I think that aspect, you can't involve it without offering the information, like you said, to the viewers. So, but if the information's inconsistent, then you can't consistently offer it to the viewers. And I think that's the fine line that FD might be hung on. On using it.
Well, it's not quite there yet. It's pretty damn perfect, but getting it to know everything about it and really recognize a spin, recognize the fact that he did too much angle and slowed basically to a stop, and then the system realizes what's happening and it tells you what's happening. There's definitely some programming stuff that needs to be refined, to make it obvious to the viewer itself, obvious to the audience and obvious to the judges. So I don't think we're 100% there, but from what I've seen the system. I watched some of the runs from, Drift Masters and stuff like that. My crew chief is the guy running clutch kickers, so he's been, giving me a lot of information about how it works and how it runs. And I think we're moving in the right direction. I'd say we're over 90% there. We just need little nuances, little things for the system to be able to recognize, when someone spins, when they understeer, if they're mid drift, and because you can have mid drift, major corrections where you're basically understeering, but you're still sideways type stuff. So if we can get all these things sort of ironed out, I really think that that's where the sport is going. It just needs that little bit of ironing out, that refinement. Everything else is there, but it just needs a little couple more swoops of that iron, smooth everything out, and we're good to go.
It's definitely close. I just hope it, like you said, it's never really used as a judge. It's just a solid tool for judging.
I would like to see it used as a judge, personally, eventually.
Really?
Yeah, because if you can see the data and there's no glitchiness,
it has to be
and there's no weird stuff going on.
Undeniably.
Yeah, but then,
accurate.
if you get the system to the point where it is undeniable, then the decisions are undeniable. There's no bias. There's no possibility of bias, unless it's run by AI. AI can do some funny stuff, but
but it will be. Like, you're gonna have to.
Well, right now
it can constantly learn.
I don't think so. I just think it needs the right algorithm to recognize everything that's happening on track. It's just like an ECU. It's just like a telemetry system in the car. If you can refine it and get it to do what we want it to do, then I don't see a problem with it. I mean, it's going to be more accurate, and it's going to be better at spotting mistakes than a human would. Judging is really hard. I don't know if you've...
but what about the emotional aspect to drifting? Because drifting is an emotional sport. It's the coolest looking sport.
Yep.
It's the craziest because there's so much tire smoke and da-da-da-da. You can't give a computer emotion and say, feel this. Only when this happens. So, like, what about the point where, like, it's so dead close, but, like, you go with the one that just felt right or felt cool, or
that's why
whatever,
I think I think it shouldn't be the primary judge. If you had a computer judge and two human judges, I think that's...
I see what you mean. Okay.
That's probably the best system. I have no argument with using it for qualifying, for example. If you're going to do qualifying and you want it to be all electronic just to speed things up, that I have no problem with. There's no weird nuances happening. There's no chance for it to really make a mistake if it's obvious and it's right there.
And you're still in the game.
Yeah. But I think two human judges so they can outweigh the computer basically at all times. So then, if two guys go to this guy wins and one guy goes one more time, or the computer goes the other direction, or it says one more time or whatever, then there's always that that superseding, decision making is done by people with emotions, like you want to say. But emotions go both ways, And if someone does a bang up run and they're on a shred, it's hard to not ignore those little mistakes that they made, And I've judged before. Judging is extremely difficult. Nobody realizes how difficult it is to watch two cars at once and make your decision and focus on a lead line, focus on a chase line. Was his lead better? Was his chase better? It's really hard. And you're making split-second decisions, and you have to make them fast. You know, it's not like you can sit there and analyze it, you know, for 5 minutes and before you can make your decision. And I have a rule when I judge: if I can't make a decision in 30 seconds, I just call one more time. So that way, the flow of the flow of the show really does count here. You know, nobody wants to sit there and watch judges make a decision. It's the most boring part of drifting. That's what really slows it down. Drifting is exciting. Everything else that goes on around the decision making and all that, relatively boring. You're just watching two cars sit on the line. Matt Soap is sitting there waiting for who to point at, you know. So
that's when a lot of that information would come in handy.
Yeah.
Just being able to kill some of that time,
Yeah.
relay a bunch of the info.
Yeah,
what
if
just happened.
you could watch a detailed, you know, digital layout of the cars sliding through and displaying the telemetry, displaying what's happening, I think that would help the audience understand more what's going on track and how the decisions are actually made. And it's going to help the judges a lot, because it might catch a mistake, or it might catch that, you know, this guy had a considerable amount more angle in this section of the track than the other guy, and that led to him running away. You know, there's
no smoke.
Yeah.
That scared the shit out of me.
They're
for a
popping
second.
beads over there.
Yeah, that was a loud one.
Yeah.
There's no smoke in the info or the data.
Yeah.
So there's no smoke covering the actual lap that the judges are judging on.
Yep.
So that would be coming a lot of handy, especially seeing proximity to the wall, whatever. So that's interesting. I like how you look at it.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything you want to let them know as far as how to find you or how to buy one of the cone hats if they skip through the first part?
Yeah, thedriftwizard.com. We got all our merch up there: t-shirts, cone hats. We got little mini squishy cones, stickers, all that stuff. If you're at a Formula D event, come find us. That's a lot easier. These things they're not expensive to ship, but it's a big thing, and I don't like they fold up, but they'll end up coming all wadded up. So it has to come in a pretty large box. So if you can make it to the event, it's going to be cheaper. We sell them for $20. It's probably one of the cheaper hats in general in the pits. A lot of people, I don't want to say they're overcharging. Snapbacks are kind of expensive these days, but these we're not spending a lot on. We're not making a ton off of it, but we're still making enough. You know, it's not a gigantic profit, but it's still, I think it's more important to fill the crowd and to make an impression at each event rather than, drive the price up and try and make a bunch of money off of them. So, come find us.
Screw the price.
Yeah.
It's being a part of an existing entity, something that's cool.
And it's definitely not a cult.
You'll pay the $20 for a
definitely not a cult, but
sick.
we have meetings every Tuesday at the YMCA. So come by, you know. Free popcorn. And at Hateley Drift on Instagram, Andy Hateley Drift on Facebook. We post a lot of silly stuff after each event. Definitely try to have a good time out here and make content that is, funny. I think that's the most important thing. I mean, if you look at, Super Bowl commercials, they're all hilarious, and that's arguably the most expensive advertising in the world. So people do reflect with, things that make them laugh. And, if I can make somebody giggle a little bit, that's great.
Dude, I die at your videos sometimes.
Hell yeah.
It'll be the simplest ones.
Yeah, there's some goofy stuff out there. It's definitely like meme quality content. And it's, like I said, it's a silly motorsport. Accept it, Yeah.
Well, that's good, man. I love that. Well, if let me get the last little question in. What is your best piece of advice for anyone just getting into drifting?
Don't forget to have fun, and don't focus too much on, I'd say, what happens at each event. Focus on how you're doing overall. It's not a race, and it's not, you versus them. It's everybody working together to make this sport what it is, and don't lose track of that, and make some friends, have a good time, have a beer with your buddies after the event, and enjoy it. Because, I'm 41 now. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be doing this, and I'm glad. It's been a wild ride. It's been 22 years now, 21 years I've been doing this. So, and it's been a blast ever since I hopped in a car and started sliding around. the people I've met, the places I've gone, it's an experience. So just enjoy it. Whatever you're at, whatever you're doing, get your car set up. Learn how to work on your own car, definitely. It's expensive to hire guys to come out and do it or to have someone build your car. That's basically why I started with the E30. I wanted a car that was, they're not cheap anymore, but they were cheap enough at the time that like, hey, if I messed this whole thing up and did the roll cage wrong or whatever, bye, you know, get another one for $600 on Craigslist and start over. And I mean, I learned everything on that car, from wiring stuff to welding to plumbing to, you know, it was my first engine swap, first everything, you know. So yeah, just learn as much as you can so that you're not paying other people to do it, because it is very expensive. Some people have unlimited budgets, and that's, you know, they can do whatever. But I think
We're
it's
on the become self-sufficient or die train.
yeah,
so.
exactly.
You
So
know.
and I think that's honestly, most of us out here are on that train. You know, you're not going to find many FD drivers that aren't knowledgeable about what they do. And even the guys at the top, you know, Turk builds some amazing shit. Forsberg builds some amazing stuff. You know, Vaughn has an amazing program. He's built his own cars in the past, and I mean, he's got that's all his, you know, input. You know, Papadakis, like these guys, they know what they're doing, and that's just the most important part, I think, is understanding not only the driving side, not only the social media side, but how everything works, and being able to diagnose problems, being able to keep yourself on track. That's just as important as anything else. So have fun, learn a lot, and have a beer with your buds. That's about it.
Cheers to that.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, I want to say thank you for stopping by, making
Yeah.
the time,
No
come do this
problem.
interview. You're more than welcome anytime.
Thank you,
I
man.
love this.
Yeah.
Well, go have some
I'll
fun
come
this
back
weekend,
tomorrow then.
and good luck.
Yeah,
you
thank
got
you,
this.
man. Thank you, thank you.
Way up to the ceiling. Trust no bitch, can't catch no feelings. I've been taking long flights from the Bay to Ibiza. Hit home runs, I'm a ball like Jeter. I just want fuck, then I leave her. I'm a young pop star, call the boy Justin Bieber. Got a little money if you want, I can teach her. Whole life a movie, you can watch it in theater.